Hey guys, so one of the most powerful things that I've learned on this journey towards financial independence is making the connection between how results are generated and how that's ultimately connected to our minds, okay? I'm not sure if you've ever spent a few minutes just thinking about how the people who generate results. For example, how is it that people who are rich got to become rich, and how is it that the people who are poor potentially remain poor? By rich, I'm talking about people here who haven't just inherited money or who haven't just won the lottery. I'm talking about people who are self-made. They potentially have started out without having any resources. Their parents were not rich or anything like that. But over time, they've been able to create a different form of result, okay? And so that fascination around generating results is something that I've been on the journey of discovering with my wife, Mary, on our journey towards financial independence. And today I just want to take a look at what that picture looks like. And then we're going to hone in specifically and look at habits. We're going to explore rich habits versus poor habits. My name's Ken of the Humble Penny and Financial Joy Academy. What we do on this channel is to give you guys the tips, the insights, the practical hacks to help you work towards a dream life of financial independence and money joy. So when I started this video, I talked to you about the idea of results and our minds. And what's interesting about it, when you think about results, when you think about, it might be your net worth growing, it might be you becoming successful at your side business or your online business or whatever. Results vary in different ways, but either way, you've achieved some form of an outcome. When you just think back to our minds, what you find is that our minds point to our thoughts and our feelings. And those thoughts and feelings point towards, what we project in terms of what we say, and down the line point towards our habits and ultimately what type of action we take in our lives. And those habits specifically and actions therefore then point us towards generating a specific outcome or result or not in our lives. Today I want to just share candidly, my observations of people around me who I've seen on my own personal journey, my professional journey, my entrepreneurial journey, and people who I've met who have become self-made. What rich habits have they been able to adopt and cultivate in their lives to get them to where they are? And on a very personal level, actually, thinking about family members, extended family members, friends who I've come across who I know are struggling in various ways financially, looking at their lives and thinking to myself, what poor habits have they got in their lives that's essentially holding them back from achieving the levels of outcomes that they want in their lives, okay? So let's dive in now and look at these various rich habits versus poor habits. It's my hope that by watching this video, I want you to take away the idea that, you don't need to completely overhaul your life immediately in order to kind of implement these various rich habits. What you find with habits is that habits are best implemented through small changes, okay? And that's what you find. And those changes, if done consistently on an incremental basis over time, is what then leads to change and leads to us generating results. Let's dive straight in now and look at those rich habits versus poor habits. Okay, so the first rich habit is that everybody I know who is self-made in some way or who has built wealth over time makes the time to read a book at least for 30 minutes per day, okay? Now, this is very interesting when we think about it, because I also know many people who have not been able to do anything financially in their lives or, aspire in some way to create wealth over time. And a lot of those people actually do not cultivate this habit of actually reading books. And what I found, on my own very personal journey, what I found to be very, very interesting about this idea of reading books is that it really takes you away, first of all, from basically not wasting your time on various other things. But secondly, what I've found with reading books is that reading books just opens up your mind to new ideas and really opens up your imagination. And the thing about reading books, because I know a lot of people would love to read books, but they actually struggle with actually getting started with this idea of reading books. What I found very useful is is take small steps. So the first thing to do is to have books around you. So I always try around the house, wherever I can. In this room I'm in, there's a bookshelf here. I always aim to have books around. And what I found that does is that it encourages me to actually reach out to my shelf, pick a book and actually read the book. In fact, this seat I'm on right now is actually where I normally sit down to read my book. I sit down, get myself a bit of a drink, might be some water, some tea or whatever, and I just sit down. I also find it really useful to have a pencil or something like that. That just helps me, kind of make notes and underline things in a book that I'm reading. Okay, so a top tip here, if you're somebody who would love to develop this rich habit, would be for you to take it slowly first. First of all, make the habit of having books around you, and also aim to start small. It might be that you read just the contents page of a book today, and then tomorrow you aim to read maybe 3 pages, and then the next day you aim to read another 3 pages. The key is to make that consistent move in your life in order for that to actually get bedded in as a habit in your life over time. Okay, and you might even find that as time passes, you move on from 3 pages per day to perhaps reading 5 pages per day. Okay, so the second rich habit is that a lot of the people I've come across, again, who've become self-made over time, have this tendency to focus on pursuing their dreams, okay? Versus, somebody who is developing a poor habit, which is that they're spending a lot of their time and seeing everything that they're doing as just work per se, okay? The rich habit is pursuing your dreams and seeing it as a form of play, okay? Something that you really enjoy doing. Even if you worked at it for 8 hours a day or 10 hours per day or 12 hours per day, because it's something you're deeply passionate about. You love doing it. You are more likely to persist and actually see that thing become a success over time. Yeah, you're not just seeing it as a chore or as just work, that's just something that's meant to generate you an income, but you're seeing it as something that you are deeply passionate about, and you're more likely to hang on and work on that thing until it becomes a success. Okay, I always use what we do here as the Humble Penny as a good example. A lot of it is a labor of love. We put in a ton of hours into making sure that we create consistently, that we show up and things like that. And it's only through that constant persistence and consistency that we've been able to then started to see results over time. And I've seen this even with my parents, with friends, various people who have become really accomplished in their various fields of business or in various areas that they might be passionate about. It might be sports, for example, but it's by seeing that thing as more as play, as something that you're deeply passionate about and something that you see as a big part of your life outcome. It's by looking at it that way that you actually then go ahead and over time truly become a success at that thing that you are doing. Okay, so the third rich habit is the habit of networking. Okay, networking. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I've met people who are, millionaires, multimillionaires, and even billionaires. I've literally sat in a room and I'm sitting here, and the person sitting across from me in the room is somebody who is a publicized, public billionaire. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, I cannot believe I'm in the same room as this individual. But then again, that shouldn't really come to me as a surprise, because I've been studying people like that on a very personal level and really getting closer to what has made them a success over time. And one thing I can point to is that every person I've come across, again, who's built some wealth, who hasn't inherited money, and so on. All those people have this habit of networking, reaching out to other people intentionally, okay? Building bridges, looking for collaborations, simply nurturing relationships. And what that then does over time is that they build up this network of people who they can reach out to if opportunities show up, if they are seeking help, and things like that. And from a very simplistic perspective, if you're somebody who wants to improve your networking, I'd say something as simple as making one phone call per day. Committing to that one thing per day of saying, look, I'm going to intentionally reach out. I'm going to make one phone call per day. And my goal with that phone call would be to build bridges, to build a relationship, and to look for mutual opportunities that not only benefits me, but potentially benefits that other person that I'm reaching out to. I can guarantee you, if you decided that for the next couple of weeks, you are going to develop this one habit of networking, you will find that that one phone call per day will literally change your life. Okay, so the next rich habit is the habit of keeping a to-do list. Okay, so the number of people I know who literally have no idea what they're working towards per day, who almost go into the day on autopilot, is absolutely shocking. And it's no surprise that a lot of people don't get to where they want to get to in life, whether it's them trying to build some wealth or achieve some form of a goal in their lives. That rich habit of having a to-do list is absolutely critical, because what that does is it essentially becomes your accountability tool. Okay, it's a way of you keeping yourself accountable. And the beauty of the to-do list is that if you can go beyond not just writing down what your intentions are, because that's what the to-do list is, a list of intentions, things that you want to achieve. But if you can then take that and connect that with your calendar, any tool that you've got out there that helps you essentially to manage your time, if you're able to make that connection, and over time, you're able to review that to-do list for things that you've achieved and things you haven't achieved, and you're able to carry those things forward and, carry on that process of building that habit. If you're able to do that, you will find that you're much more able to prioritize in your life. You're not just reactive to things and finding yourself with life just happening to you. You'll find that you are much more proactive because you are deciding what goes on your to-do list, and more importantly, why it should go on your to-do list. So begin today by simply asking yourself, what is my daily big three? What are the three things that I would love to do today? Put them down on, a notepad or, whatever tool you've got, and have a go at focusing on that list and connecting that list to your diary. Okay. Then the next day, do exactly the same thing, but review what you did the night before just to check whether you were able to keep up with those things. And if not, just review why you were not able to keep up with them and carry some things forward. Again, I absolutely guarantee you that if you can build this simple process into your daily routine, you will start to become that person who has a proper handle of their time and who understands, more importantly, what they're trying to do and why they're trying to do it. Okay, so the next rich habit is the habit of exercising every day. Okay, what you find is that most people who perhaps are on the other camp, who are not developing these rich habits, tend to spend more time doing things that just keep them naturally unfit. Okay, I found that people who prioritize exercise in their lives definitely up their energy levels and are far more productive in their lives. Okay, what that then results in is that you essentially end up being somebody who is overall healthier, and the more healthier you are, the more likely you are to be present for opportunities. Okay, I mean, have you ever considered the idea that every single year of life that you are able to have in your life could actually equate to, a monetary increase in your net worth every single year? It could be that your net worth goes up by, 100K per year, or a couple £100,000 per year, simply because you have prioritized looking after your health. Okay, and looking after that health makes you more present because you're able to be more alert for opportunities and take advantage of those opportunities as they arise. I personally, in my own life and with my wife, what we aim to do every single day, and I've done it this morning already, is to wake up and head out there for some exercise. It could be that we go for a walk or we go for a bit of a run. This morning I've done a walk for an hour after doing the school run, and I've just found that what that does for me, it really energizes me. I love the fresh air. I love just being out in the sun when it's sunny, and it also helps me think and really just internalize my ideas and really think about my day and how I want to operate. Okay, so definitely consider building in this rich habit of exercising. Again, it starts small. It could just be that today you put your running shoes or your, whatever it is you use in front of your door. The next day you actually put them on and you actually step out and you walk around the block. The very next day, or a few days later, it could be that you actually decide to walk twice that distance, or maybe a 10% more than you did last time. But again, it starts very small. You don't go from zero all of a sudden to 5 times per day of exercise. You can begin very small, start with one day at a time, and gradually build into your lifestyle this rich habit of exercising. Okay, so the next habit is the rich habit of not watching reality TV. Okay, now I know this one would get to a lot of people because a lot of people spend a lot of time just wasting away and watching TV. Okay, now I was one of those people who many years ago actually watched a lot of TV until I actually audited my time. I used a time tracking app to actually check, because I used to complain, I don't have the time for side hustles, I don't have the time to achieve certain things. But until I tracked my time and noticed that I was wasting a lot of my life watching TV and watching those box sets, those popular TV shows, until I did that, it was then that I realized, well, actually, if I could get rid of TV as a part of my life and actually directed that time towards reading books or doing some research or focusing on my side hustle, if I could do that, then I knew my life would be changed. And so again, it started small, okay, and first step was actually that we just stopped our subscription service for the TV package. And as soon as that happened, it felt weird actually not being able to turn the TV on, because you become so accustomed to actually sitting down and watching your favorite reality show. And you become so accustomed to going on WhatsApp groups and your friends talking about a particular show and maybe sharing, images or sharing video clips of maybe Love Island or some other thing that people watch out there. Yeah, and you might feel like this strange one out of them because you are starting to move away from that world of watching TV. But I can guarantee you that this will absolutely change your life. What you find is that the people who actually, and this is the poor mindset, the people who actually spend a lot of their time watching reality TV really do it, and they might not admit it, but they do it because they're trying to escape from the reality of their own lives. Okay, and that's, which is really fascinating when you think about it, because what the people who are building riches in their lives, who are building wealth, people who are becoming more self-made and who are working towards these various journeys, such as you pursuing financial independence and building a true life of purpose, the people doing that are doing that because they are truly creating their own lives, rather than spending all their time focused on what other people are doing in their lives and watching reality TV. So I challenge you today, if you're somebody who spends a lot of your time watching reality TV today, audit your time. How much time in a whole week are you spending watching TV? And then consider, how could you go about reducing that? Could it be that you watch for 2 hours or 3 hours per day? How about if you drop that by 1 hour per day? Yeah, because then you will start to find that you rediscover another aspect of your life, because you find yourself with more free time than ever before. And if you direct that time into these other rich habits I've been covering on this particular video, you find your life changing for the better as a result of taking that step. Okay, so the final rich habit is that the rich essentially instill rich habits in their children. Now, this is such a personal one. And I tell you why. As a family man, I've got, 2 young children. I'm a married man, married to Mary. We've got 2 boys. The one thing I can tell you right now is that every single parent that I know, including us, we always want the best for our children. Okay? But not every parent takes the step to do what's necessary for that to become a reality for their children. Okay? So what you find is that the rich spend a lot of time being intentional about what their children are doing. Okay, so it might be the rich habit of teaching your children to read, for example. And we've started doing this with our kids. We've been doing it actually for some time, for a few years now, where our kids read a book, for example, and we spend some time discussing that book that they read. And this is by no means easy, and it's a challenge, but we know that it will change their lives because they're building that muscle of being able to read a book consistently without feeling like it's an odd thing for them to be doing, like they're itching to want to go and watch the TV. Okay. The second point, again, this is related to an earlier point, is to perhaps teach your children to limit TV access, to limit TV use in their lives, because those two are related. If they're able to watch less TV, they can find themselves spending more time reading books, for example. And I mentioned these rich habits about teaching your children specifically because the idea by itself can appeal to couples if you're in a relationship, or if you are a single parent, because I find that a lot of single parents struggle with this idea of breaking free themselves and also being able to teach their children the necessary habits that they need to be able to change their financial circumstances for the future. If you're a parent today, I want you to ask yourself, what rich habits am I teaching my children? I want you to really think about it. Are you being intentional about teaching your children rich habits? And if you're not, I want you to really ask yourself why that is and what rich habits could you pick up today? Perhaps from this video, for example. One other rich habit we teach our children is this habit of curiosity. Teaching our kids how to be curious about life, how to be curious about things, and to ask why or how. So for example, one thing I love doing with the kids when we drive the car and maybe we're going to school, for example, we might stop off at the traffic light, and if I look to my left or right, if there's a shop, for example, I love to just ask them, that shop over there, why do you think that shop exists? How does that shop make an income? What problem is that shop solving, for example? And it's very interesting because it raises their curiosity and they are able to think about it and consider problem solving and how problem solving then connects to money making. Okay, again, that's a rich habit that you can adopt, not just for yourself, but also teach your children. Guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video today on these rich habits versus poor habits. It's our desire on this channel that you will be that person who develops those rich habits, because we know that rich habits are an absolute pathway towards getting rid of poverty in our day-to-day lives. We've seen it in our own lives, and as you would know if you followed our story, we haven't inherited any money, we haven't come from wealth, we haven't won the lottery or anything like that, but over time we've been able to become financially independent by really understanding how results are generated and following that all the way back to how our minds work. And a big part of that journey is understanding habits and how we can develop richer habits in order to change our lives. I hope you've really enjoyed that video. If you did, please make sure you hit that like button because it really helps to encourage a ton more people to love and engage with our videos. I'd love for you, if you're new to our channel, to please make sure you hit that subscribe button as well as the notifications bell so you get notified when we publish our videos twice a week on a Tuesday as well as a Thursday. Oh, and by the way, please make sure you share this video with other people. If you found it really useful and thought-provoking, make sure you share with other people who might find it useful as well. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments, which of those 7 rich habits really resonated for you? Which of them really spoke to you as something that you might want to adopt in your own life as well? Those are by no means the only rich habits that there are out there. So if you've got any other ideas, rich habits that you've come across, I'd love for you to share them in the comments, and so that we can engage and talk about them. Everybody can learn as part of this experience. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and as ever, in all things, be thankful and seek joy. Take care and bye for now.